Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have a cup. I think I got this from a bookish box a long time ago, but I haven't really used it. It's got like a sword and books on it. It's very sparkly. And I'm drinking, we're pivoting a little. I'm drinking watermelon mint lemonade mixed with some sparkling water. It's a fun summer drink. Today's video is going to be my anticipated releases. I'm going to be covering the month of August and September. We're in August right now, but we're going to do August and September, and then I'll do one more video for October, November, December. There's a lot of releases in August and September, so I felt like one video to cover those 2 months would be plenty. So with that being said, let's just get into it. And August slipped away like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. Okay, wow, August has so many books. Okay, so August 5th is the first date we're going to look at, and there are several coming out that day. I actually think A Theory of Dreaming is on this list. I think it came out in July, the end of July. But I'll glaze over that one real quick. A Theory of Dreaming is the second book in the A Study of Drowning series, and I really liked it. This is the second book. I think it's a duology, so I think that wraps up the story, and I'm looking forward to getting to that when I can. But it's kind of like a spooky dark academia fantasy with a lot of dark elements and dark themes, like abuse, like dealing with a lot of things. So I'm curious to continue the story, but it is a lot. Moving right along. One of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I mentioned this in the August TBR, Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher. The first book in that series is Assistant to the Villain, and it's kind of a fairy tale medieval setting, but it's also kind of an office setting. So she'll be like, "Good morning, sir, here's your morning brew," and all of that, but he's a villain, so he is trying to take down the king, and it also plays with kind of ideas of the villains aren't actually the bad guys, and maybe the good guys aren't as good as they seem, and there's like kind of mysterious elements you're solving along the way. There's a plot that's unfurling for the whole series, and Evie is this like sweet, innocent go-getter, like looks on the bright side type of a person. She kind of slowly throughout the series as well has a lot more character development and maybe has a darker side. But anyways, I'm looking forward to continuing that series and finishing that series, which is kind of sad. The next one that comes out on August 5th is Well, Actually by Maisie Eddings. This one, I learned about it, I can't remember when, but I learned about it at some point, and I learned that it's kind of like a book sort of inspired by The Chicken Shop Date, if you've seen that like YouTube series, which I was all for. As soon as I heard that, I was like, absolutely give it to me. And in the book, she's the host of Sausage Talk. And it says she never expected to be the host of Sausage Talk, interviewing B-list celebrities over lukewarm hot dogs, instead of pursuing the journalism career she dreamed of. But when Eva's impromptu public call-out of her college ex goes viral, she is thrust into the spotlight. It doesn't help that said ex is Riley Cooper, a beloved social media personality, and has built a platform on deconstructing toxic masculinity and teaching men how to be good partners. Forced to confront Ryle on a live episode of Sausage Talk, he offers Eva a deal. Allow him to take her on a series of dates to make up for his toxic behavior, then debrief him on his channel to show he's changed. Eva refuses to play nice, but agrees to the scheme to advance her own career and continue defaming Ryle's good name. When these manufactured dates start to feel real, Eva has to wonder if the boy that broke her heart has become the man that might heal it. So it sounds kind of cute. I like the premise and that it's kind of like Chicken Shop Date. It sounds interesting. Hopefully I'll like it. And the next one that comes out on August 5th is one I actually learned about pretty recently, which is why I kind of do these in phases, because there's no possible way for me to know every book that's coming out at the beginning of the year, like I used to do, so. And that's A Dragon Rider's Guide to Retirement by Julia Hooney. I think that title is just hilarious in and of itself. It's the first book in a series, I suppose, because this is Dragons of Safe Haven, and it says they survived the war, now they just have to survive retirement. When dragon rider William Ordell, grounded by a battlefield injury, he trades conflict for peace and purchases an abandoned lighthouse on the island of Safe Haven. But quiet doesn't suit a man used to action. After a series of mysterious fires, William finds himself launching the island's first fire brigade, and with help from the local sea dragons. Calantha Stormbringer has left war behind, along with the last sparks of her fading magic. She retreats to Safe Haven to rebuild her late aunt's dusty bookshop, and maybe herself. Restoring the shop will require patience, intelligence, and gold. Calantha figures 2 out of the 3 isn't bad, but neither of them wants to run into each other. Again, old grudges, magical dragons, and one cozy, nosy village what could possibly go right? A Dragon Rider's Guide to Retirement is a cozy, low-stakes fantasy filled with magic, mischief, and a slow-burn romance that won't steam your glasses. Perfect for fans of Legends and Lattes, Cursed Cocktails, and Jay Penner's Adenshire series. So that sounds very sweet and cute and has dragons involved, so I am looking forward to getting to this. It only has 9 ratings so far, but it's got a 4.78 rating, so that's pretty cool. And then on August 12th, The Society of Unknown Objects by Gareth Brown is coming out, and I loved The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. That was the first book I read by him. I think it was his debut. That could be incorrect, but I think that was his debut. And I was kind of blown away by it. I picked it up on a whim and ended up really liking it, really loving it. So when I saw he was coming out with another book, I was like, I'm going to give it a try at least. And this one says, the world of unknown objects, magical items that most people have no idea possess powers, has been quiet for decades. But 3 current members of a secret society have remained watchful, meeting every 6 months in the basement of a bookshop in London. They are pledged to protect their archive of magical items hidden away, safe from the outside world, and keep the world safe from them. But when Frank Simpson, the longest-standing member of the Society of Unknowable Objects, hears of a new artifact coming to light in Hong Kong, he sends the Society's newest member, author Magda Sparks, to investigate. Within hours of arriving in Hong Kong, Magda is facing death and danger, confronted by a professional killer who seems to know all about the unknowable objects, specifically one that was stolen from him a decade before. Magda is forced to flee, using her artifact that not even the rest of the Society knows about. Returning to London, Magda learns hers is not the only secret being kept from the other 2 members. In a perilous journey across the Atlantic to the deep south of the United States, not in pursuit of an unknowable object, but an unknowable person, the killer she first faced in Hong Kong. In doing so, Magda begins to understand that there are even more in the world who are chasing these magical items, that her own family's legacy is tied up in keeping these secrets under wraps. Magic has always been too powerful to reveal to the world, but Magda will learn there might be something even more powerful, the truth. I have hope because of The Book of Doors and how much I ended up loving it, so I'm very excited to get to that at some point. And then Bridget Kimmerer has a new book coming out called Warrior Princess Assassin, and I am intrigued to read this even though I haven't finished the Cursed trilogy. I can't remember what it's called right now. But this is her adult debut, which is really exciting, with this irresistible and steamy fantasy about 3 characters whose paths will collide in surprising ways. 2 royals pushed into a political engagement, and the assassin tasked with hunting them down. A tale of 3 complex characters torn between chasing, betraying, and falling in love with each other. Warrior Princess Assassin marks the beginning of a thrilling new fantasy trilogy filled with enchantment, adventure, and passionate romance. So that sounds cool. I'm intrigued. We'll see how it goes. And the first one for August 19th is Once a Villain by Vanessa Lynn. This is the last book in the Monsters trilogy, I believe. It's kind of been a long time coming. Let's see. Yeah, the first one came out in 2022. The second one came out in 2023, so it's been a little bit. I can't really talk about the premise of this one, but the first one is that there are monsters in the world. They look like humans, but if they choose to use their ability, which is time travel, they have to use the time in which they take from other humans. So if they take 2 years off of my lifespan, they can then time travel. So it was a really interesting magic system, and I loved the first one. The second one kind of flopped a little bit for me, but I'm hoping the third one brings it back together. So looking forward to this, kind of like, it's like a mixture of dread and hope, but hopefully it's good. And then T. Kingfisher's new book is coming out, Hemlock and Silver. This one, obviously, also coming out on the 19th. I was curious about this because it's a dark reimagining of Snow White. A dark reimagining of Snow White steeped in poison, intrigue, and treason of the most magical kind. Healer Anja regularly drinks poison, not to die, but to save, seeking cures for those everyone else has given up on. But a summons from the king interrupts her quiet, herb-obsessed life. His daughter Snow is dying, and he hopes that Anja's unorthodox methods can save her. Aided by a taciturn guard, a narcissistic cat, and a passion for the scientific method, Anya rushes to treat Snow, but nothing seems to work. That is until she finds a secret world hidden inside of a magic mirror. The dark realm may hold the key to what is making Snow sick, or it might be the thing that tries to kill them all. You can't tell me that doesn't sound intriguing and good. And I loved Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I thought it was fantastic, so I'm hoping to kind of find another T. Kingfisher book that makes me feel like that. And then I recently learned about this series, and I think it was originally indie published because it's been out, but it's being picked up by traditional publishers, so it's being released into stores again on August 19th. And it's the Bloodwing Academy series, and book 1 is called On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. And this is a dragon fantasy, so I was pumped. I have the first audiobook already. So I'm hoping to get to that at some point soon. But this book is coming out technically in like Barnes & Noble, etc. And it says, what do you get if you mix Harry Potter with Fourth Wing, Zodiac Academy, and a dash of Arthurian legend, and lots of vampires? Bloodwing Academy. Best-selling epic fantasy author Briar Bolin returns with a new series perfect for fans of hate-to-love romance, heart-pounding action, and dark magic. On Wings of Blood is a dark academia fantasy romance featuring a bully villain with Draco Malfoy energy who eventually gets the girl, all the tension and banter, and a tantalizing, dangerous blend of court and school intrigue, all set in an intricately crafted world with a unique vampire and dragon lore. Bloodwing Academy may have crossover characters from the world of the Blood and the Fae, but can be read completely independently. If you're a fan of original mythology, unique world building, and character-driven romantasy books, such as Crowns of Nyaxia, From Blood and Ash, and A Court of Thorns and Roses, you won't want to miss this riveting new saga. It's a lot of names being thrown at you, but I like that it's dark academia. I like that it's kind of a mixture of those themes. I like that it's fantasy, mythology, dragons, vampires. Like, it sounds really good. So I'm very, very curious to get to it. And the last one for the 19th is Voidwalker by S.A. McLean. This is book 1 in the Beasts of Void series. First off, the cover looks amazing. I love the cover. The story actually sounds really interesting too. It says, Fiona Mara is a smuggler. Antel is the reason her people fear the dark. Fee ferries contraband between worlds, stockpiling funds and stolen magic to keep her village self-sufficient, free from the blood sacrifices humans have paid to Antel's immortal species for centuries. Only legends whispered through the pine forests recall a time when things were different, before one world shattered into many, and the flesh-devouring beasts crept from the cracks between realities, and their sable antlers and slender tails, lethal claws, and gleaming fangs. Now mortal lives are food to pacify their carnivorous overlords, exchanged for a feudal protection, and the precious silver energy that fuels everything from the transport to the weaponry. When Fee gets planted with a stash of smuggled energy, a long-lost flame recruits her for a reckless heist, escalates into a terrorist bombing and a coup against the reigning immortals. With Fee's home caught in a crossfire, she's always known the dangers of her trade and the power she's wielded since childhood, allowing her to see the secret doors between dimensions, to walk the void itself. But nothing could have prepared her for crossing paths with Antel. For the deal she'll have to make with him, a forced partnership to reclaim his city that begins with a desperate bid for survival, only to grow into something far more dangerous, a revolution, and a temptation for how sweet the monster's fangs might feel. From the author of The Phoenix Keeper comes an era-defining new fantasy universe where spicy romantasy meets the Cosmere, unmissable for fans of the world-building scale of Sarah J. Maas and the world-shifting stakes of Rebecca Yarros. Voidwalker will be your next romantasy obsession, a deliciously feral story that started with just 2 words, bite me. The voidwalking stuff sounds really interesting. I'm very curious to read something like that. And then the last book that I'm looking forward to at this moment for August is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This comes out August 26th, and so I have a love-hate relation. No, I won't say that. I read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I needed a break because it was so dark that I haven't read Babel or anything else from her, but this intrigued me, and so I'm very curious to read this, and I would like to read something else from her as well. 2 graduate students must set aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. Alice Law has only ever had one goal, to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality, her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Grimes is now in hell, and she's going in after him, because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal hands. And even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams, nor will the fact that her rival, Peter Murdoch, has come to the same conclusion. That sounds super intriguing. I'm, pretty pumped about it. Then we get to September, which does have quite a few, but not as many as August, so hopefully this won't take a lot longer. The first one that I'm looking forward to that comes out September 2nd is Thorn Season by Kira Azar. I heard about this a little while ago, but the why I put it on this list is kind of evading me at the moment. With the irresistibly compulsive quality of Fourth Wing and the rich world building of A Court of Thorns and Roses, Thorn Season is sharp, funny, sexy, and dangerous, and packed full of irresistible twists, an unforgettable novel that marks the introduction of a new major YA voice that will be the romantasy debut of 2025. In the kingdom of Daradon, a persecuted few are wielders, able to exert a physical power that extends upon her visible, a shimmering tendril that can pick a lock, a gentle coil that reaches out to give a loving caress, or an inexorable rope that will kill a man before he knows it is around his neck. Feared and mistrusted for this ability, wielders have always been hunted. Alyssa Payne, heiress of a noble lineage, daughter of a hunter family, is also a wielder. And as she approaches her 18th season, Alyssa knows that she has escaped execution so far only through painful self-control and the fragile efforts of her beloved father. Summoned to the harsh and glittering royal court for the debutante season, Alyssa finds herself trapped in a web of hidden intentions and caught between two equally dangerous men. One is a brutal ruler with the handsome face of a fairy tale prince who would see her destroyed in an instant if the truth were known, and the other a beguiling foreign ambassador with secret agendas of his own. It's rose season at the palace, but Alyssa knows that her survival will depend on being the most vicious of the thorns. This is giving me a little bit of, not exactly, but some vibes of like Heir of Storms, some vibes of The Rose Bargain, and I'm curious about it a lot. I think it's going to be really fun. Hopefully it is. I love tropes and themes and summaries like this. And then on September 16th, I'm looking forward to The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. I'm going to be honest, this is like part of that Dream Harbor series, and I'm going to be honest that I'm only excited about this because it's The Gingerbread Bakery. And I love gingerbread. But I think this is going to have Christmas vibes, so I'm probably going to wait until December to read it. But essentially it sounds like all of the characters of the other books are coming together for a wedding. And Annie, the character of this book, has agreed to bake the cake, and Mac is responsible for being Mac. And as the whole of Dream Harbor comes together to celebrate the wedding of the year, with snow falling around them, can Annie and Mac put aside their dislike for each other long enough for the I do's? Or is that one request too far? The Gingerbread Bakery is a cozy romantic novel with an enemies to lovers dynamic, small town setting, and a happy ever after guaranteed. Tropes: enemies to lovers, found family, small town, forced proximity. I read The Christmas Tree Farm in this series and I liked it. I haven't read the others, but I was really excited about this one because I love gingerbread. That's it. And also on September 16th, Hopelessly Devoted by Audrey Goldberg Ralph, I don't know, is coming out, and this sounds really cute. It's also kind of like a cozy fantasy romance situation, but it says, after the deaths of his parents, a witch returns to his spooky family manor and joins forces with his former crush when his parents' spirits warn them of a sinister threat in this witty and lyrical unique rom-com in the vein of The Crescent Moon Tea Room and The Ex-Hex. Azrael must be cursed. He's a witch twice named of the devil. He's making his way back to his family manor in Hollow Cross after a failed screenwriting career. He's adopted a cat he's allergic to, and if all of that is not enough, he's also forced to come face to face with his childhood best friend and former crush, Victoria, the bubbly girl next door, Az lost touch with after an awkward incident in college. Just been disowned by her parents for quitting business, school, and buying Azrael's late parents' hopelessly devoted tea shop against their wishes. Being cut off financially is one thing, but now Vicky also owns a lesser devil for the souls her parents promised him in exchange for her gift to summon the dead by touching something they treasured in life, destroying the object in the process. Spirits all over town, including Az's parents, keep warning her about a sinister threat. Vicky and Az are forced to combine their powers to save the Hollow Cross. But to do so, they must prevent their magic from immolating him after Vicky's devil places a curse on them to keep them from touching until she repays her debt. And they race against the clock to find a clever way around their curse, and find it increasingly harder to deny that they've been hopelessly devoted to each other all along. I like the magic element and the idea of like trying to break a curse, and that they're running a tea shop. It's cute. And on September 23rd, Never Ever After by Sue Lynn Tan is coming out, and this sounds really good, even though I haven't read a Sue Lynn Tan book yet, even though I meant to. It says, not all fairy tales and happily ever after in this Cinderella-inspired fantasy by the best-selling author, daughter of the moon goddess. For fans of Renee Ahdieh, Tiara Mafi, and Stephanie Garber, life in the Iron Mountains is harsh and unforgiving. After the death of her beloved uncle, Yening has survived by becoming a skilled thief and even better liar. When she acquires an enchanting ring that holds the key to a brighter future, it is stolen by her step-aunt, and she must venture into the imperial heart of the kingdom to seize it back. Amid the grandeur of the palace, she catches the eye of the ruthless and ambitious prince who tempts her with a world she's never imagined. But nothing is as it seems, for she's soon trapped in a tangle of power, treachery, and greed, and her only ally, the cunning advisor from a rival court who keeps dangerous secrets of his own. To break free, she must unravel the mystery of her past and fight for a future that both frightens and calls to her. This sweeping fantasy romance inspired by Cinderella and a Chinese fairy tale is the first in a breathtaking new series. Yup. You can tell I'm getting tired. And then a book that has been a long time coming, honestly, that's also coming out September 23rd, is Thief of Night by Holly Black. This is book 2 in the Charlatan duology. The first book was Book of Night, and I actually really liked it. I think that was kind of a hot take. A lot of people didn't enjoy this book, but I don't really love the Cruel Prince, so I feel like this was more geared towards me. Maybe that's not true. But I liked it, and thought the magic was really interesting, and the story was interesting. And this is, I guess, just a duology, so this is going to wrap up the story. Obviously, I can't tell you much about this one, but it's got some, like, shadow magic and a lot of intriguing kind of underworld stuff, as in, like, she was a thief and she stopped being a thief, but then she kind of had to pick it back up again and got wound up in a lot of schemes. Kind of looking forward to wrapping that story up. And then probably top 1, potentially, anticipated release of the year, September 23rd, Alchemized by Sen-Lin Yu is coming out. If you don't know, I'm sure you do. If you don't know, this is Manacled, basically, the Hermione fanfiction that is being turned into a published work. So it's no longer Manacled, it's no longer the Harry Potter world, it's completely different. But I believe it's the same story, it's just, she's just taking the story back from fanfiction and making it her own, and I could not be more thrilled. That book wrecked me. I have never been the same, and nothing has compared. It was so fantastic, so I'm hoping this one is just as fantastic. I don't know how it couldn't be. It's over 1,000 pages, which is going to be just rough, but it was just so good before, so I'm just really looking forward to reading this kind of again, but not really. But it says, in this riveting dark fantasy debut, a woman with missing memories fights to survive a war-torn world of necromancy and alchemy, and the man tasked with unearthing the deepest secrets of her past. What is it that you think you're protecting in that brain of yours? The war is over. Holdfast is dead. The eternal flame extinguished. There's no one left for you to save. Once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistance friends and allies have been brutally murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. In the aftermath of a long war, Pallada's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers, whose vile, undead creatures helped bring about their victory, holds Helena captive. According to Resistance records, she was a healer of little importance within their ranks, but Helena has inexplicable memory loss of the months leading up to her capture, making her enemies wonder, is she truly as insignificant as she appears, or are her lost memories hiding something vital, some vital piece of Resistance final gambit? To uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this new world. Trapped on his crumbling estate, Helena's fight to protect her lost history and to preserve the last remaining shreds of her former self is just beginning. For her prison and captor have secrets of their own, secrets Helena must unearth, whatever the cost. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And then Trisha Levenseller has a new book coming out, Wild, called What Fury Brings. And this is her first adult debut, which is so exciting. Also comes out September 23rd. It says, What Fury Brings, a sexy, empowering romantasy featuring a warrior general who must kidnap and train a husband in order to take her rightful place as a queen. There's a shortage of men in the kingdom of Amara. After a failed rebellion against the matriarchy, most noblemen in the country are dead. Now the women of Amara must obtain their husbands, should they want one, by kidnapping them from other kingdoms. Allura, a warrior princess vying for the throne, is determined to prove her worth by kidnapping a husband. And not just any husband. To outmaneuver her treacherous cousin, she needs the best. Fortunately, the second-born prince of their greatest enemy is widely known for both his looks and his sweet, docile temperament. He's the perfect choice to secure her claim to the throne. Sanos, heir to the kingdom of Brutus, has nothing but contempt for the idea of society run by women. trained from birth to fight, lead, and follow in his father's overbearing footsteps. His path has always been set, until he takes his younger brother's place in a drunken prank and finds himself kidnapped, chartered off to the Amiran Palace, and informed that he is to become the husband of the Queen Potential Allura. Sanos needs to escape before anyone learns his real identity, but the more he gets to know his captor, the less sure he is of what he truly wants. That just sounds hilarious. That sounds like tropes being flipped, and I love it. And then another one that I'm kind of really excited about, because this is an author I've been wanting to read something from for a long time, I just haven't gotten to yet, and this seems like a good way to wade into that, is The Sleepless by Jen Williams. This is the first book in a duology, and it says God Killer meets Powerless in this epic gods and monsters romantic fantasy from Jen Williams. That sounds so good. Like, just that right there. Welcome to the world where gods and monsters roam the earth. Elver is the guardian of the wild and dangerous monster forest. Saved from the brink of death by God, her skin will poison anyone she touches, but she meets a human who she can't poison. And it becomes this whole thing. And he's not just a human, he's one of the sleepless, cursed to share his body with an evil spirit. And the evil spirit that inhabits his body is hell-bent on manipulating Elver for his dark purposes. But they're all harboring secrets and trying to form these alliances, and it's all dangerous and precarious. Caught in the crossfire of gods, monsters, and dangerous magic that they can barely understand, it is only a matter of time before the paths the three of them choose to take will set alight the very foundations of their world. With a love triangle like you've never seen it, incredible world building, brilliant writing, and a dangerous quest, The Sleepless will have you spellbound. Say less. I'm in. I'm so ready. And then last but not least, Evelyn Grace has a little kind of novella coming out, Holly. This is a Belladonna novel, so this is like after the events of the Belladonna trilogy. It says, I'm going to read you stuff that's not super spoily, but it says, something strange is happening at the Wisteria Gardens. A group of restless spirits is determined to threaten their festivities with a new mystery to solve. Signa, Blythe, Death, and Fate must uncover what happened to Wisteria's ghostly inhabitants and help the spirits move on before it's too late. This sounds like kind of like a cute holiday novella with some kind of mystery elements. So I'm very much looking forward to that, even though it's not going to be super amazing because it's a little holiday novella, but I am excited to read it. That is the last book for September and the last book for this anticipated release video. Those are the books that I'm anticipating for the rest of August and September. I would love to know what your most anticipated release is for the fall or in this time frame. But as for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you like it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.